Good morning. What a great day this is. We're glad you're here, and what a great celebration we should be having. You know, today we're celebrating 50 years. That's a half century for some of you in here that didn't finish high school. Title IX success for women has been amazing. You know, I started my career as a high school basketball coach along with football, and the basketball was women's basketball, and it started right after Title IX was enacted. So I've seen firsthand the success of what's happened to Title IX. Maybe one of the best kept secrets up here that's happened in this building. And again, it happened 50 years ago. And so today we're celebrating that huge success. Why? Because it made a level playing field for men and women in sports. Back during my early years of coaching, there might have been 3 to 5% of women that played high school sports. And after the enactment of Title IX, you could see it go straight up. What did it do? It allowed financial success and balance in men and women's sports, facilities, balance in men and women's sports, and I think one of the big things, it started and allowed women to participate in different sports. Used to, you had women's basketball, maybe a little bit of track, but after Title IX, you saw men and women's track, you saw men and women's volleyball, you saw men and women's soccer, and the one thing that's really exploded over the last dozen or so years is men play baseball, women play softball, and it is one of the fastest growing sports in our country, all because of Title IX. What did Title IX do? It made, if you were getting federal money, it made everybody make it equal and a level playing field for women in sports, the same as men. Since 1972, female participation in sports, in college, and scholarships has risen 600%. Now that's an amazing stat. 50 years ago, there were very few scholarships for women in college and sports. Since then, 600%. Young girls were given the opportunity to earn scholarships through hard work and dedication. And that's what you learn, especially at a younger age. You learn time, you learn work ethic, you learn dedication, how to work with your teammates, how to follow the rules, how to handle winning, and how to handle losing. A lot of people don't understand that. Sports can transform lives. I've seen it many, many times. I've seen people change their lives because of sports. Title IX has benefited our female athletes because they can compete not only on a local stage, but now they can compete on a national level. And if you look all over the world, because of the World Games and the Olympics, we have some of the best athletes in women's sports all over the world stage because of Title IX. So today, the 50th anniversary of Title IX, we reflect on its impact of all the generations. But as we learned just this morning, the Biden administration is threatening to undo Title IX's progress in women's sports. That happened just this morning. What a day to celebrate, and what a day to get hit upside the head with this new legislation. Their proposed rule would expand Title IX's definition of sex, not male and female, but it would include gender identity, to where you can identify whoever you want to be identified as. Democrats basically are forcing politics onto the playing field. Allowing athletes to self-identify into a gender category erodes the gains that women have made over the past 50 years, and it ignores the biological differences between male and female athletes. That's because biological males who have gone through puberty are stronger, bigger, and faster. It's a known fact. In the last 4 years, biological males in women's sports have won 22 championships in women's sports. Think about that. Men playing in women's sports, I guess they're proud of it, have won 22 times just in the last few years. Basically, that means this rule and some in the past, women are playing for second, third, and fourth. How can you give a post-game locker room speech or a halftime speech to a young lady knowing that she's not competing to win, she's competing for second? This is about fairness. Title IX sent the message to female athletes everywhere: you can compete and you can win. It's up to us to preserve this fairness. So in the light of what the Biden administration just announced, in a few minutes, I'll be calling up the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act on the floor in the live UC. We will see if Democrats will stand with me to protect women's rights. So now I've got a few other senators that want to make a few comments, and I'd like to introduce Senator Hyde-Smith.
Thank you, Senator Tuberville, and thank you for the opportunity to bring this to light. There is nothing more exciting than families following a sporting team, especially when it's your children. My mom was a basketball player. I was one of those basketball players. When I played, we had 6 men on the team or 6 ladies on the team. Then we called 2 of them rovers that could cross half court. I was a rover. My daughter played basketball. And there was nothing more exciting from junior high to high school of following the team and the closeness of the family and the friends that you make along the way. This is incredibly important for young women, and it's my job to stand here and defend these young women. That's the reason we had Title IX to start with and continue today to have to defend that. It's almost unbelievable to me. You know, it was meant to ensure equity between men and women in athletic and education, and the Biden administration is carelessly threatening that equity. It just angers me. The Biden administration is working to redefine sex to include gender identity in the name of anti-discrimination. But this is discrimination against women, plain and simple. The Title IX has transformed women's sports, expanding opportunity to women's and girls through scholarships, through career opportunities. The price of ignoring the biological differences between men and women will be paid by young women and girls. They will pay when they're denied educational and athletic scholarships and career opportunities, and eventually they will have to wonder, why am I bothering to compete at all? Pretending biological females and transgender women are the same for all purposes will move girls and women backward rather than forward. This is a no-brainer. A 9th grader can figure this out. Simply put, the Biden administration is willing to compromise the prosperity of women just to further its own woke agenda, an agenda that will do lasting damage to progress to Title IX has given us for half a century. And we will continue to stand here not only to defend Title IX, but to defend all female athletes throughout this country so they can have their fair opportunity.
Oh, okay. If you were in Tennessee today, in any of our 95 counties, and you were driving along the highway or a country road, you probably would see some young girls out playing basketball. Their dream would be to be a part of the Lady Vols, to go to UT. They've watched this team. They've probably been to a game or two. They've gotten to know a little bit about the players. They've heard how these gals compete and get scholarships. And they're watching what these women achieve. And they're dreaming that one day they just might be a part of that team. And whether it is young girls who are on the tennis court, or maybe they're out playing golf, or they're running splits, getting ready to compete in a fall cross-country season because they want to compete on a college team. Now, Title IX for 50 years has said it's a level playing field, that you've got women's sports and you've got men's sports. And the Biden administration has decided they're going to erase women's sports. Indeed, they want to erase the word woman. And if they get their way in changing Title IX, you're going to end up with a team of men and a team of former men. That's what you're going to have. And it is women that are going to be sidelined and left without the opportunity to learn how to compete, to learn how to win, to learn how to handle adversity and hardship. They're not going to have that opportunity to learn how to be coached. So this is why it is so important that we keep Title IX. I've been working on a resolution, indeed have a resolution to honor Title IX. Interestingly enough, the Democrats have decided they want to slow walk this. It is appropriate that we honor Title IX and the anniversary, the 50th anniversary, and that we honor the women who broke barriers that caused Title IX to come about, and the female champions that have benefited from Title IX and from all of those early trailblazers.
Right. Well, make no mistake about it. I'm here today to fight for my granddaughter's rights, to fight for her American dream, to make sure that she has the same opportunity that my daughter had. One of my favorite memories as a young parent was getting to coach Little League sports. My first team, Coach Tuberville, had 7 first graders, young ladies. Now, none of them got to ever play for the Lady Vols at Tennessee or for Auburn, but they all had a great success in their own way. I remember we practiced hard, we worked hard for that opening game, and there was 2 minutes left in the game. The score was tied, so I called a timeout. I brought my team in for a huddle. Coach, I called the perfect play. I had it set up for my point guard to make an entry pass to my big woman, and she was just gold underneath the basket. I looked up, and there was my point guard, my daughter, and my 2 guard were doing cartwheels, practicing cartwheels on the baseline. And I knew right then that maybe I needed to take it down a notch. But what I got to do is watch all 7 of those young ladies grow up. Every one of them had very successful high school careers. Several of them got college scholarships. In this world of a mental health epidemic, I would take one good coach over 20 mental health professionals. I think that I look back to the great influences of my life, great influencers of my life would be my coaches and my teachers as well. On this 50th anniversary, we should be focusing on defending women's athletics. Instead, this administration is tearing down 50 years of Title IX success in just under 2 years. And with the sweeping of a pen, Joe Biden has destroyed today Title IX as we know it. His obsession, this White House's obsession with allowing biological boys to play girl sports is un-American. It's simply not fair. No one can look me in the eye and tell me it's fair for a biological boy to compete against biological girls. There's nothing fair about this administration's radical policies. Let's be very clear what's going on here. This administration is holding women's sports as ransom for their radical woke agenda. Now they're going to do the same thing with school lunches. They want kids to go hungry at schools that don't fall in line with letting boys play girls' sports. What kind of world are we living in now? We have the tail wagging the dog. In these trying times where families are faced with rising inflation, the Biden administration is considering taking food out of the mouths of hungry children over their woke agenda. I want every person, regardless of their sex, their beliefs, their skin color, to have access to opportunity, to have the same American dream that I've had. But we can't be willing to make kids go hungry or force young women out of their own game in the process. Coach Tuberville, thanks for leading this important issue. Hey, we got one more speaker. Sandy, go ahead.
Hey, wait, is it
She's
you?
been-
No,
she's
I've
been-
already gone.
You
Okay,
go ahead.
okay, excuse me. You know, Coach Tuberville and I are exactly the same age. When I was in high school, girls couldn't compete in sports across town. Even in Cheyenne, Wyoming, where I went to high school, we couldn't compete against Cheyenne Central. In sports, there were no women's sports. My father played basketball for the University of Wyoming, and one would think that all the years he spent playing hoops with me on the ranch could have created an opportunity for me to get a college scholarship. We were a lower middle class family. I was the third of 4 kids in a row. I couldn't get a scholarship to play college sports. There weren't any college sports for women. In one generation, that all changed. My daughter played college tennis. My daughter had opportunities that I never had. It made her a more confident person, a more athletic person. It gave her opportunities to go to school that I never had. Title IX is huge for women, huge for biological women. And now to say that competition is going to be changed in a way that disadvantages the very women that Title IX was created for. This is absolutely wrong. I absolutely feel so strongly about this because of the differences I've seen in my own life brought out specifically by Title IX. Thank you, Coach Tuberville, for giving us this chance.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
Senator, I have 2 questions, and everybody can answer. So, I mean, you bring up the messaging from the president regarding Title IX, but he ends up talking about in regards to changing some of the provisions for sexual assaults. Title IX also addresses that, so that it also considers those who are part of the LGBTQ community. When you're taking that into consideration, can you mix then both the messaging with sports and also sexual assault, or do you think that the president has an agenda towards that?
Well, I think for us today, and obviously that's a huge factor, but let's stick to the sports part of it because, you know, that's what it's going to affect the most. We all have our thoughts about the sexual assault, but let's just stick with the sports side of it today.
I just have one follow-up. Anybody can answer.
Okay.
The Supreme Court gave down its decision today on the gun ruling out of New York. I just want to get your thoughts on it. That people are able to conceal carry now through New York after they made that change.
Yep. I want to read the whole ruling myself. I've not read the entire ruling yet.
I haven't read it either. We've been a little busy. Did you read anything on it?
Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So let us look at it first. Any other questions?
Excuse me, Study World has just lowered the age to 12 for folks that have transitioned. They have to have transitioned at that age. What's your reaction to that?
I think it's going to cause more problems than good. I think at the end of the day, my full belief, and always has been, a biological male is a biological male. Biological female is a biological female. I think if you start putting if, ands, or buts in there, you're going to have huge problems. And so I think that we need to stick with your biological sex when you're born. I think that's the best way to define it, and it makes it a level playing field.
You know, I applaud their efforts at trying to address this, and the lead is this FINA that did this, FINA as well. So I applaud their leadership in doing this. But I think it's real simple to realize that some 12-year-olds are shaving, and some 12-year-olds don't have any hair under their arms yet. So like Coach said, how can you make a rule that's going to address this? Biological men were born with a Y chromosome. That should exclude them from ever competing against biological women that do not have a Y chromosome. It's an unfair advantage, period.
Thank you, Dr. Marshall.
And if we want to give trans people advantages in sports, they should have their own competition category rather than being competing as men or women. If they're transitioning or have transitioned, there should be athletic competition categories for trans people so they can still compete. But they're not competing at an advantage that disadvantages women from getting scholarships to go to college.